Hi, Gemma here from Calligraphy Gems. Today's video combines two of my favourite things, and that is calligraphy and journaling. So rather than teaching you something related to calligraphy today, I want you thinking about calligraphy, and I've created a list of prompts for you to get journaling, and I've broken them down into 4 different sections. So there's calligraphy resources, calligraphy projects, making progress, and me as a calligrapher. So I want you to get thinking and enjoy this journaling experience. I will ask you a question and then give you some time to answer it. So it's kind of like an interactive journaling session that I hope you really enjoy. And this is for calligraphers no matter what stage of kind of your calligraphy journey that you're on, whether you're a beginner or more experienced. So let's get into it. Let's start with making progress. Calligraphy is a visual art, so it's great to see visual proof of your calligraphy improving, but there will be times where you feel stuck and like your calligraphy isn't growing or improving, and I've been there too. So what I want you to ask yourself for the first question is, what will I do when I feel frustrated that my calligraphy is not improving? Next up, how can I continue to work on my calligraphy in a way that fits in with my day-to-day life? Now, regular practice sadly doesn't mean that you'll necessarily be improving. If you just keep repeating the same style over and over, it might not be as easy to improve. So for this question, I want you to ask yourself, how am I going to proactively improve my calligraphy? Now, one piece of advice that I like to reiterate is to keep your work. It's really important to be able to see your progress over time. I think you'll be disappointed if you don't keep a record of it. So the question I want to ask yourself is how and where you're going to keep your progress. Now, speaking of progress, I want you to ask yourself, what are my 1 month, 3 month and 1 year goals for my calligraphy? Now, I recently created a video celebrating the wins in my calligraphy business, and I think recording your wins is really important, not just in your business but in calligraphy, and keeping a record of how you're growing as a person and as a calligrapher. So I want you to ask yourself, how am I going to record and celebrate my wins? Let's move on to the next category, which is calligraphy resources. Now we're going to start with a simple question. I want you to ask yourself, what are my favourite calligraphy pens, and are there any tools I would like to try in the future? But calligraphy resources don't just refer to pens and paper, they also refer to ways that you can continue to learn your calligraphy and improve your calligraphy. So for this question, I want you to ask yourself, what calligraphy resources can I use to improve my calligraphy? Now, referring to the list you've just created, I want you to ask yourself, how do I prefer to learn calligraphy, and which of the resources in this list should I be utilising more often? Now, in my opinion, the calligraphy community is the most valuable resource. So for this question, I want you to ask yourself, where can I access this community, and how can I go to them for help in the future? Moving on to the next theme of calligraphy projects, this theme is all about the application of your calligraphy. The first question I want you to ask yourself is, what can I make with my calligraphy currently? Similarly, I want you to have to think about future projects. Now, these don't have to be calligraphy specific. They could be maybe collaborating with another calligrapher on a project or setting up a YouTube channel. So for this question, I want you to have to think about future projects that you would like to try. Moving on, a year ago I started learning watercolour and it was just for fun and I really enjoyed it, but I realised how much it actually complemented calligraphy. So for this question I want you to ask yourself, are there any other types of art or skills that I would like to learn that would also complement my calligraphy? Now on to a fun one that I hope excites you. I want you to ask yourself, what is a dream calligraphy project of mine? Onto the final theme of me as a calligrapher. No, not me as a calligrapher, you as a calligrapher. And let's start with the first question, and that is, why do I want to learn calligraphy? Or if you've already learned calligraphy, why did I want to learn calligraphy, and why do I continue to want to improve my calligraphy? For the next question, I want you to ask yourself, do I want to make money with my calligraphy, or do I just want it to be a creative outlet? Next, I want you to think about parts of the community that you particularly enjoy. I want you to ask yourself, are there any other calligraphers that I admire, and why is that? Thinking about yourself as a calligrapher, I want you to ask yourself, how do I sum up myself as a calligrapher in one sentence? Moving on, I want to think about how you envision yourself progressing as a calligrapher. I want you to ask yourself, where do I envision myself being in 1 year's time and 5 years' time? So what have you learnt from these prompts? I'd be interested to hear down in the comments. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have, consider subscribing for more calligraphy and journaling content. And thank you for watching.